What's good? What's good? What's good, YouTube? It is your girl Trisha checking back in with our early morning message. I've been up. Let me tell y'all, sometimes y'all have to grind life out. I mean, when you gotta say you hitting that pavement, you gotta hit that pavement. I'm still burning the midnight oil. Your girl was ready to go to sleep, but I was like, dang, do I really gotta pump out this message? And I was like, but you said you were gonna show up. So here is your girl. I'm showing up despite of tonight, okay? But anyway, today what we're going to talk about is how do you turn your pressure into your growth? Because a lot of us get that perception of when you hear the word pressure, that we associate with anxiety. We associate it with something negative, like, oh my God, that's fear. That's that's something that is not surmountable in most of our life, right? That's how we start looking at fear. But let me tell you what, I had to look up the definition, right? And I had to figure out, and it said it can be defined as a mental or emotional strain resulting from challenging situations or expectations. So, in a sense, pressure is the force applied to a unit area. So, it's what's been applied to you. Ooh, what's been applied to you. Yes, you. But then you have to also understand when we're looking at it from a human perspective, that comes from how are we making our decisions? How is that affecting our behavior? And how is that affecting our perception of the things that we go through in life? Because when you look at those are internal and external forces, right? So I can look at myself every day as a nurse when I'm looking at something that is from an external force. Whenever I step outside my house, I am dealing with all external forces, right? So when I'm at my job working as a nurse, I have to understand my coworkers, my patients, all of them are finna give me a different level of external forces. Why? Because they need to pull on my energy. They need to pull something out of me. That's pressure, right? So when I look at my patients, you looking for answers on how do you heal? When can I get my forms filled out? Why is this like this? How do you know this? Are you safe enough to give me this? I have to also look at those external forces. But then I have to look at my internal forces, right? Because my internal forces is my perception of me, my behaviors of me. Am I giving myself the me time I need? Am I able to show up for myself? What kind of personal goals am I setting for myself? Am I making them some realistic goals for myself? What is my self-imposed values? Not everything that you look at as an internal force, how do you perceive that when those pressures come up to you? They let you know, hey, you didn't hit that mark that you said you were going to hit, because those are my own personal beliefs. So when you're looking at pressure that comes in your life, yes, you're going to have internal pressures, but you're also going to have those external pressures as well. Those pressures that says, hey, back up. So now when we're looking at the perception of pressure, because that often is associated with how we are managing our stress. How are you managing your anxiety? And are you working at a deficit to the point where you're burning yourself out? Because at times, yes, we can do that when we're not all the way fully understanding the pressure and the force, that unit force that is coming up against us. So we battle it instead of knowing how to step back and knowing, hey, this is an external force and these are my internal forces. And how am I supposed to multitask that to the point where I can complete this task? That's like the pressure of me knowing I have to get these patients turned over in and out of these rooms every 20 minutes. Or me understanding that, hey, you got to start an IV here, or you got somebody down the hall that's critical. You have to use your logic. That's you being quick on your feet, right? For me as a float nurse, So I am one of the regional float nurses. That me telling them externally, you can put me anywhere and I will be able to swim. That's me telling you, if you put me anywhere, I know how to be a team player. I know how to critically think fast. I know how to be quick on my feet. I don't really need, I need direction, but I don't need it, because as a float nurse, when I'm stepping into that arena, it's whatever you give me. Every day is going to be something different. You can say, hey, I need you to go over here and do this. I need you to go over here and do this. I need you to do this, this, and this. And me showing up and saying, hey, yes, I can do that, at the same time as being a team player, which means externally, your girl has to stay what on her square, right? That's part of me signing up for this mission. For me to tell you regionally, you can send me anywhere regionally. I'm good. So you have to look at what kind of pressure that is, because that is a matter of you having some level of resilience. You need that when you're having pressure applied to you, or you're not going to be able to keep adding and adding and adding, because when you get something added onto you, it'll weigh you down. But when you have some resilience and you have some clear, concise motion with you, you understand that that energy and that friction of that pressure that is being applied, that you know how to meet force with force. And it's important as anything that you do, whether that's me with my kids, whether that's me in a relationship, whether that's me with me, whether that's me with my family, whether that's just me with my environment, you have to understand that some level of pressure will be applied, and how will you be able to navigate that pressure? Also, you have to understand that when you have the right perspective when it comes to pressure, you are able to innovate. Just think about it. You ever been late on a bill? You ever need to figure out how to come up with some money? You had to get creative. You had to get innovative. You had to know where you can go, or what you can create, or what you can sell, in order for you to get that profit margin that you said you needed, right? That is part of pressure. When some of us is put under pressure, we do our best work. Why? Because our creativity is able to flow under that pressure. You're able to think outside of the box. Most times when you're under pressure, you're like, well, when you're not under pressure, when you're not under pressure, you don't have to think so much out of the box, because you're in your comfort zone. But when you are stepping with pressure, you're saying, I don't mind being out of my comfort zone, because I'm able to adapt out of it or in it. Which is why you have to start looking at pressure, especially when you're trying to grow, differently. And the only reason I said that is because, what did I write down? I said pressure can stimulate creativity and problem solving skills. It's showing you how you can get your breakthrough when you start learning how to deal with things under pressure. When you're also understanding that it will help you help others. Yes, when you are able to understand pressure differently, it helps you to help others. Why? Because at the same time as you under pressure and you're having deadlines and you needed things done, your dynamic of ease, of understanding, is a lot easier when you're under pressure. Ask your girl how she know. I'm always under pressure. I always got something that helps, that has to fulfill me, has to keep me going, because I'm active like that. And so one of the things I had to say was, when I encounter people, right? Let me just say, so 2008, I had first became a community health worker, which means I had to stay out in the community a lot more than I am actively as a nurse. But as me a community health worker, that was me having to go out into different affairs and everything, and talk to the community about like STDs and how can I help promote mental health, or how can I sit there at the red door and actually be there and help support people who had HIV, just different areas of my life. And it was challenging because at the same time I was younger, I had lack of different set of knowledge then when it came to me wanting to help those classes of people. I won't say just those people, but those classes of people, which means I had to be having to learn how to have some guidance, and I had to learn how to channel that pressure into positivity when I was at a state of insecurity, which helped fuel me into nursing, because then I had to understand it was a deficit there. So that pressure that I had to go under as a community health worker had to also then move me into a state to say, hey, as a nurse, now I am able to adapt to these different pressures. Yeah. So you have to look at your stepping stones in life and the different things that you went through to be like, dang, that pressure helped fill me. When you knew you didn't have a house, or you knew that you needed somewhere for your kids to go, or you needed food to be put on your table, you had a different set of pressure that made you say, hey, this is what I want to do. When I can look at some of my own internal, or you can call it external forces, is how I wanted to be academically, right? Academically, I said, no matter what, I want to be able to excel in school because I like honors, right? Which means that no matter what, I have to dedicate myself under different pressures, the pressures of life, because I'm a mom, different, let me just say it like this, because I'm a mom, that I have to go to work, that I have to take care of family, that I have to also take care of my different sets of relationship. Plus I have my own personal life that I like to have, that I do me with, right? I have to also understand within all of these different pressures, I'm under pressure because I want my research papers to look right. I want to be able to say, hey, can I critically think outside the box to make this not just so average of a paper, but that I actually went inside and did the research, read it, understood it, comprehended it, whether that took me an extra day, an extra 2 days, whatever it was. But can I sit down and channel that? Because in life, you're going to have to channel these different energies, right? So I had to look at that. I had to look at my state of being a mom. Okay, well, how does that look when the development stage is unmatched to what I want, right? Because you're going to have that. And as a mom, would I be able to be resilient in those moments when I know that my children need me and I have to also build my inner peace? Different things in life will deal you different pressure moments. It's how you will show up with those pressure moments and how you're able to deal with them. And you have to look at, what does your time management skills look like? Are you able to work under pressure with a short amount of time when you know, hey, I got a deadline and maybe it's going to take me 4 or 5 hours to get this done? Are you able, somebody calls you and be like, hey, I need you to do this for me. Are you able to get that done? Are you able to channel your energy to say, hey, for the next 3 or 4 hours, I have to dedicate myself to this so that I can build a stronger support system, or I can build a better rapport with people? Because if you're not able to function under your own dysfunction of pressure, you cannot deal with anyone else's, because you haven't learned time management skills. And when you don't learn time management skills, that demand that others will put on you, it will almost break you, because you're not used to having your back against the wall. And if you're not used to that, it will be hard for, what did I say? If you're not able to do that, it is going to be hard for you to unlock your own potential. Why? I said because when pressure arises, you often discover hidden capabilities, resilience, and a drive you didn't know you had. Ooh. But the goal for most of us who is ready for this step, it's you achieving your extraordinary. That you're going beyond that. You're able to step outside of your own comfort zone and the pressures and pivot and move. Yeah. and get yourself there, because you're trying to reveal your own strengths, ignite your own innovation, and drive to your achievement level. And the way that you're going to be able to do that is by you unlocking your potential. And most times you do not unlock your potential until you get into pressure. But once you get there and you unlock your potential, that is your energy field. That is your essence. And then you have to learn how to stay there, because it's going to be forces that try to come in and say, girl, you're doing too much. Slow down. I'm trying to catch you. I'm trying to understand you. Wait, this is becoming a mystery because I wanted you in this energy, or I wanted you to have this set of pressure. I didn't want you to learn this pressure. I wanted you to learn the one I wanted to give you. So now you have to understand you can't let other people dictate your momentum, that you can't let other people dictate how much pressure is too much pressure for you. When you feel you got too much pressure, you know to slow down. But if the pressure is building up because you trying to shoot up past your own mountain, you trying to get up there. If you was climbing, you can't slow down. No, baby, even when your arms and stuff get tired, you got to find that extra strength within you to pull yourself up to that next level, right? That is what pressure is for. That is your endurance, and you are running a race. And right now you feeling like you're out of breath. You're not finna be able to keep going. So you gotta let your second wind at some point kick in, because when it kicks in, baby, you go into overdrive. And when you get into overdrive, you understand that you start knocking things out of the way. You start saying, oh, no, 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 no. I need this to move. I need this to move. I need this to move. And then where do you end up? That's when you end up in positive relationship with your pressure. Ooh. That's when you shift your inner talk to yourself. That's when you let yourself know that even though I'm feeling this pressure, I see what that pressure is about to get me. Ooh, even though I'm feeling this financial strain, I feel that this pressure is making me go on over here, because now I have to start thinking this way, this way, this way, this way, this way, because now you're trying to get yourself into a spot where you just is in receiving mode, because you're attracting. You become a magnet when you have pressure, but you also have to be careful with that magnet, because sometimes you can be, when you start attracting things, you got to know what you're picking up and what you got to sit down, because you can't get too much pressure on you that you weigh yourself down when you just had got your momentum going. So you have to be able to embrace your learning process. You have to be able to look at this process and learn, okay, I can pick this, I can't use this. That's when you become aware, self-aware, when you are under pressure and you take the time to start having those moments where you are cultivating your learning process. You are able to say, hey, I can use this. I can't use this. I learn now how to manage my stress. I know what I need to turn on. I know what I need to turn off. I know when. Why? How do I know these things? Because mindfully, I had to sit with myself in order to come up with a plan. When I got under pressure, most times when you're under pressure, what do you have to do? You have to do meditation, right? Because you got to go and sit with yourself, because you have to be able to go, all right, I know how to do this. I know how to do this. I know how to do this. But right now, which one will achieve the goal that I'm looking for, right, in life? And when you get to that spot in life, then you're like, let me exercise it. And when you under enough pressure, right, that becomes regular exercise for you. Because now it became your second nature to understand how to function in it. So don't look at the pressure when it comes as, oh my God, here's my fear arising. Here is my anxiety arising. Here's some depression that's going to arise. Here's my self-sabotaging ways that's going to arise because I got all this pressure that I just don't understand. And I don't have my time management skills and I don't have all my basics together. No, baby, that's when you sit down and you write yourself out a new plan. You come up with a new strategy to say, how does this supposed to look? Because at the end of the day, you're trying to find a more meaningful way of living under pressure. You always had it. If you're a parent, if you're a student, if you're a worker, if you just living life, you feel the pressure. Don't go to work and need some money. And you gotta have it. Baby, you got crackheads out here who able to live up under pressure and go find what they need to make sure that they have the right system in place. It might not bear a lot of fruit for them, but they gonna get their mission completed. So when you are having a different level of understanding, whether it's whatever it is, finances, school, education, strippers even can figure this out, baby. You know what I mean? Because it's a different level of elevation under pressure. You don't know when you're going to be on top, but when you're on top, that's pressure too, right? When you at the bottom of the barrel, that's pressure too, because you're trying to figure out, how the hell do I get from down here? If you up there, how do I stay up there without having to shrink down? So every level of pressure will build a different character momentum within you. It's often up to you how you want that to look in your life. One of the things I said is a life without pressure often means a life without progress. Because if you do not embrace pressure and learn to harness it, it tends to fall back onto you as fear and keeping you in self-sabotage and talk. Ooh, think about that. Don't you find those moments when you can't figure out how to navigate your own pressure? You tell yourself how you should give up, how it's not worth it, how it's not going to amount to nothing, and anybody who ever says something negative to you, it started popping up in your mind to be like, oh, well, you can't do that. You might as well go have you a drink. Oh, you can't do that. You might as well go on and talk to old boy again. You know you can't do that. Go talk to that girl up over there again. Or it gets you into a spot because you feel the pressure of even when you're in a relationship, right? And it's not going out the way you want it to, and y'all bickering and you can't find a common ground. When that pressure get on you, how do you react in those moments? Do you retreat back into yourself like you were a little kid? Or are you able to stand up and be like, damn, this pressure is going to make me have to rise up in this relationship to be able to take a stance to say, hey, baby, despite of what this pressure telling me, this is what's going on. This is where I'm at. Because most times you have to understand with pressure, people have to take it or leave it. With pressure, it's either finna push you forward or it's finna push you back. The choice, the momentum, the beauty of life, it is your choice. What you gonna do with it? What are you gonna do with it? Understanding that most successful people that you see, they learned the consistency of pressure. They learned how to adapt to change. And when change came, they learned how to push through it. When pressure comes, you have to learn how to push through it. Ooh, it reminds me of my saying, you gotta know how to play through your own pain. You have to know how to play through your own pain. Because you are trying to surrender to that pain, because you're trying to revolutionize to where you're trying to go. And the only way you're going to do it, baby, is pushing. Push it. You got to push it. You got to push your own boundaries. Because when you push your own boundaries, you get a chance to see something about yourself you did not know. And that is the beauty of life. And once you feel that breeze of knowing that, hey, I did this. Haven't you ever did something in life or wrote a paper or something and you was like, oh my goodness, I wonder how this is going to turn out, and then you see that big old A or something on your paper, or you say, hey, I'm a brand, make this company, and then when you actually see it's open, if you are a business owner and you see it's open, what does that do, baby? It gives you some it releases your endorphins. It lets you know, hey, I can do this. The thing is, that's what you're trying to release release your endorphins and like you want it. It's like dopamine. It keeps you on high mode. And that way you don't have to start looking for substances to get you high, because now you learned how to get a natural high, and it's a daily natural high. And that natural high comes from you pushing yourself through your own boundaries. Ooh, baby, baby, baby. Which is what it is. You know what I mean? I've been on here. I did want to talk to you guys about learning how to grow in your pressure. And the only way you're going to grow in your pressure is to go through your own pressure. Yes. Usually I tell people, when you going through your own pressures, those are your moments of in your own wilderness. Sometimes those last for seconds, sometimes minutes, depending on how you are pushing. And then sometimes you can make them last a long time. But the choice is, how fast do you want to push? How fast you want to push. I was trying to make sure I didn't miss nothing, but you guys, you gotta understand that you have internal and you have external forces. And with each one, it's how do you find a positive affirmation for it when you're going through it. I explained to y'all what it looks like for me as a nurse, a mom, a woman. You have a woman, a man. You have different natural pressures that is on you. As a woman, it's how do you stay feminine? How do you show up and you be all you can be at the same time? You have to be so submissive and understanding and nurturing to your counterpart, right? But then you have to look at it from a man's perspective, because you're supposed to be a protector, a provider, an educator, a leader, a head of a household. You have different sets of pressures too. So how do you guys navigate these pressures and combine them? The only way you do that is finding some pressure that is yoked to you, because again, I'm going to iterate that pressure is the force that is applied per unit area. So you got to know what kind of area you trying to dominate, and if you have enough pressure to meet pressure, because it's got you, or you can say force meeting force. It has to connect. Anyway, y'all, it's your girl Trisha. I am not going to be on here that long. I did want to come in here and drop this message because for some reason today, when I'm just on high mode, I'm like, dang, this is pressure. Classes and started back, kids acting up, they got homework. I'm this pressure. Pressure, baby, pressure. And I was just like, how do you navigate pressure to make it make sense to you? How do you put pressure back into pressure's right perspective? When you over here playing tug of war with pressure, I said, baby, how do I get me some momentum with this? I had to look back over the things that I do in life to be like, Lord, Lord, what you doing? What you doing when you doing? He said, remember what you asked me for. Y'all be careful what y'all ask God for, because he will give it to you. And he gonna be, and that's God is pressure, baby. He pressure. He gentle, but he pressure. When you ask him for something, he gonna test you. He gonna give you that pressure. He like, okay, I got you. You want that? Here. You want that? Here. Here. That's what he do to you, baby. He show you he pressure. I'm feeling it. Your girl was feeling it. But anyway, you guys, my name is Latricia. I have been on here for a minute. I did drop a description in the box. If you are up to it, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the message. And even if this message didn't help you, push the message, because it is out there to help someone who will need to understand how to navigate their pressure. And I also have a way that you can contact me if you do want to get in touch with me outside of here. I did drop my email in the description box. And again, if you want to support the channel and support my cause and pushing out my messages, also feel free to support. Everything is in the description. Again, my name is Latricia. I am your girl. I'm signing off now. Until next time. And don't forget to love on each other. Because I need y'all to remember we all we got. I don't care what's going on in the world right now. Y'all got to know that we are the